All right, so here we have the new Nano-Texture MacBook Pro, while this is the original Glossy one, which you can still get just standard. This is a $150 upgrade this year, and right there, look at that. You can already see the differences there. Now, there might be some brightness differences and stuff like that because this is an M1 MacBook Pro. Of course, the new one's M4 MacBook Pro. But look at that right there. Let me go ahead and slowly kind of shift them so you can see there is a big light over there to the right. Look at that, it's not reflecting it. So there we go, I've gone ahead and flipped them so you can see again, this is that same lamp we're just looking at, and the difference is just huge. It really just looks fantastic. It looks so clean and much nicer to look at. Definitely easier on the eyes as well for some reason. It's just nice. You definitely have better contrast on the Glossy one. However, after using these all day, I gotta say it's very close. Here they are. Of course, they turn themselves off, but that's a good little thing to see as well. You can kind of see the fingerprints that I've kind of put on the screen here. Now, while I don't want to touch this one too much, for this video, I will go ahead and smudge a point here. Let's see, you can see it right there. I'm gonna go ahead and smudge a point right here. There's the smudge. There's the smudge, so we can see it a little bit better with the angle of the light. But of course, like the other one's just crazy that I put right there. Look at that. Yeah, wow. So big difference. And real quick, I guess, let's see how to clean it, right? Now, it did come with a polishing cloth from Apple in the box. However, it felt a little bit different. It's a little bit softer, but this is the one they sell online. I'm putting very gentle pressure on there. See if it cleans. And yeah, the smudge is gone. I'm just seeing a little kind of something fell on there. Not sure what that is. All right, so there's some dust on, or some debris on there from the manufacturing process that I definitely didn't put on there. And I'll have to clean that later. But the smudge went away instantly, but now these little things that I'm seeing are driving me crazy. I don't know if they're defects or what, hopefully not. No, they're coming off. I'm just not sure what it is. But look at that, perfectly clean. Smudge is absolutely gone 100%. Let's turn it on its side here for a second. Let's focus here on the Glossy screen so you can see how easy is it to clean. Let's see right there. There you go, those are gone. I do feel like with Glossy screens, you kind of often need a little bit of a liquid to kind of help you a little bit because you kind of feel like you're fighting that kind of stickiness from the glossiness. But you can see it does come off. But yeah, again, the contrast isn't going to be as good on the Nano-Texture. Are you going to notice that day to day? I don't think so, unless you're a huge color buff, in which case you already know you're not going to get the Nano-Texture to not lose even those little, differences in the blacks, because the blacks might look a little bit more gray. You can see just kind of, I cleaned the screen a little bit and now it's looking a little bit better, but all those other kind of artifacts and stuff, you're definitely going to need some liquid for that. Same case would be for this if they're not coming off, but I think it's just going to be much harder to actually get this screen dirty because the finger just doesn't automatically stick to it when you touch it. So I just really like this. Again, let me go ahead and turn this one just so that they're the same. And here we go again. You can see the reflection of the camera overhead. Meanwhile, on the one on the right, you cannot see the camera really. Look at that. You can't really tell exactly what it is. Again, let me go ahead and turn this one. Look at that. It's just a mirror basically right there. All right, so now I actually wanted to talk a little bit about text clarity. And if you straight up want the answer, is the text sharper on the Glossy MacBook? I will go ahead and say yes. However, not by much. In fact, by very little. If you really have an eagle vision and you're really paying attention to it, you might be able to kind of see that slight kind of haziness from the matte display. But again, it's not hazy like a traditional matte display. It's just kind of like this little bit of etchingness that you can kind of see if you just really pay attention to it. And here what you can see with the large text that they both look very, very close. However, if you kind of just look at them quickly, the left image for some reason looks a little bit better. And that kind of basically summarizes the Glossy display as a whole. The Glossy display is very poppy, very eye-catching. Everything really pops from it. And at first glance, that's going to be the one that you're most attracted to. But it is very important to remember that you're using these monitors, these displays, for hours on end. One of the reasons that my studio display is the Nano-Texture is because I hated the studio display with the glossy finish. My eyes would get fatigued much quicker, and while the colors popped and everything, it was just unnecessarily bright at times to have to fight the reflections. So the matte display basically lets me bring it down to a much nicer brightness that's better for my eyes, and it just feel calmer for longer sessions. Now with very tiny text, I think that's where the differences are going to be more noticeable. So if you're editing Word documents or you're not full screening it and you're not bringing the font size up, and you compare both displays, you are going to see slightly better text clarity on the glossy. So there is a winner. However, no, I wouldn't really decide based on that because it is a very specific use case, and it might be worth going over to the Apple Store and checking that out if you care that much. However, I would really focus on the reflections, the eye fatigue, and maybe just the overall aesthetic that you would prefer, and I think that's the display that you will enjoy the best. Also, just as an aside, as a general tip here, one of the weird things about macOS is auto brightness for me, and it was a problem that I encountered here. For a second, when I was first playing around with the Nano-Texture display, it seemed to be dimmer actually in a lot of situations than my M1 Glossy display, and that was simply because for some reason this new laptop is a little bit more conservative on brightness, and I'm not sure if that's just to extend the battery life or because it is the Nano-Texture. But when you leave it on auto brightness, even if you bring it up to the highest brightness setting, that is not the highest brightness setting that the laptop's actually capable of achieving. You have to go into settings and turn off auto brightness, and then you can go to the maximum setting that it's capable of achieving on just daily usage on everything that you want to use it for. Just as a tip, in case you feel like the display is a little bit too dim, especially on the Nano-Texture, maybe when you're comparing it to a glossy display, make sure to double check that, make sure to turn that off, put it on full brightness, and then compare it, because this laptop in particular was being very conservative as to what brightness it wanted to max me out at on auto brightness. So there you go, a little tip for you to make sure you don't mess up when you're comparing them. I definitely think it's 100% worth getting the upgrade for the Nano-Texture display. I wouldn't get this laptop without it. It's just really worth it. We finally have it in MacBooks, and it doesn't look washed out like some of the Windows laptops do. Those that are about 1,000 and stuff, those gaming laptops that are seen with the matte displays, they look absolutely horrible compared to this display right here with the Nano-Texture. Apple's matte kind of process that they do with the nano etching and stuff definitely looks way better than what they do with the normal laptops. And if you don't believe me, go see it for yourself, go buy one, go compare it, because that is simply the case. And I've been using the studio display also with the Nano-Texture, and it's just such a better experience on the eye, such a better experience when there's sun in the room and stuff like that. But yeah, there you go. That's the Nano-Texture display right there versus the glossy display. Hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of how they're gonna look. Again, you're spending so much on the laptop. Everyone that sees this display in person is going to like it more, except for a very few exceptions that might prefer that kind of mirror-like finish on the screen. But this just looks absolutely fantastic. Definitely get the upgrade if you can. Of course, if you don't have the extra 150, doesn't matter. It's not the biggest deal in the world. The laptop's still going to function the same. It's going to work just as well. You'll have a little bit more contrast, a little bit maybe more perceived brightness as well with the glossy display, and that'll be it. So if you can get it, get it. If you can't get it, well, it would have been nice to get it, but you're not, missing out on the greatest feature of all, but it is a nice thing to have. So yeah, let me know what you think. Nano-Texture or not, is it worth it for $150? Let me know your opinion, because of course, this is just my opinion. I could be wrong. Make sure to leave a like in the video and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Goodbye.